The power of France entered me. The French destinical mind appeared in front of me with a request to use my ability, prophetic and military foresight, to see the political and military cycle of France. Ladies and gentlemen, I accepted it, and 25% is the price. The French destiny is going forward in time. However, that's not by your doing, that's by the doing of your generational line. Your dad, granddad, granddad, or dad create a generational blessing account, and that's what you're sitting on. So no matter what you do, you will go forward in time and you will get what you want because you're blessed, not because of what you're doing, but what they have done. And that generated the spiritual pot of gold, and that's what I'm touching, taking 25%. And the rest will go back to France, to the legal hierarchy, and 25% stays here. This is the price you pay for these words. So, ladies and gentlemen all over the world, yesterday I became a victim of an act of terror, and that decreased my capacity to focus, because I have these inner emotions that need to be dealt with, because I have these little fights with these Germans, and you know, I tolerate them, but it's like I'm getting fed up. So these emotions of being fed up is like it taints the quality level of these videos. So yesterday I forgot to mention in the NATO military and prophetic foresight video something as vital as this. I saw that Vladimir Putin built concentration camps, and he put homosexuals and transsexuals in those concentration camps. And I'm talking about the type of concentration camps that you see on the television, like about that they send you to some faraway place somewhere in Russia. You know, when you're in Russia and you commit some really crazy crime, they send you to some far away secret camp. I'm talking about those type of concentration camps. So that's what I was supposed to say in the last podcast, but because I was emotionally so angered, that left my direct awareness and it went into my memory. So that you all know, when the Russians invade the West, and when they succeeded at invading the West, sooner or later they will start building these concentration camps to purify the society of the people who have sexual issues, so to say. The immoral, the sexually immoral are gonna, when Russia shows up, that's the fate of the sexually immoral that way. This Vladimir Putin is not so super anti-homosexual and anti-trans. He's insulting homosexuals, he is insulting transsexuals, and he is taking away rights of homosexuals in Russia. But he appears to be a moderate. He appears to be like, okay, I'm just only moderating it a little bit. It's going too far. So Vladimir Putin presents himself as some individual that is just going to restrict you a little bit, go back in the corner, go back in the closet, and we will leave you alone. That's what Putin is presenting himself as, but that is a lie. The moment Putin feels secure, so Putin has a bigger war plan. You have to understand that as an ordinary citizen. If you're a homosexual listening to me, and you hear this, and you want to understand the mind of Putin, everything he says is tactical, because it's a bigger picture. He needs to lead Russia into a destiny of victory. So when you say untactful things like normal people who have no strategy with their life, they just say whatever they think and whatever they feel like. No, Vladimir Putin does not work like that. That is a tactical military man with all kinds of specialties in secret service work. A lot of experience, so he will just say what he thinks you need to hear to get what he wants. I think that's called game theory. So this Vladimir Putin is not going to do what he wants to do before all the threats are taken out. So there are all kinds of political agendas on the world that the homosexuals have started and the transsexuals started, that they hate the church, and they limit the church because they're afraid that the preachers and the Christians are going to go, you can't be homo, blah blah blah. You know, the old ringtone between the sinners and the church. This ringtone is playing, and Vladimir Putin knows that, and he will not. He will first defeat you all, and then put you in the concentration camp, and then the true Vladimir Putin will show up. You're not seeing the true Vladimir Putin. He will put homosexuals and transsexuals in a concentration camp. And he will make sure that you are crushed when you enter that concentration camp. Okay? So something as vital as that flew away. Okay? So let me tell you something. Yes, homosexuality is a sin, and God doesn't like it, and you will not enter heaven. When you die and you're homosexual and you didn't repent of your sin, you will not enter heaven. You will go to hell. So the problem is, what most Christians do not understand, is that you have free will. If you're homosexual, you have free will. You have the choice. You may choose to give in. If you're homosexual, you may be a homosexual under the law of the state. Don't violate the laws of the state, and you'll be a homosexual, but you're saying to God, I don't want it. And once you die, God will respect your choice, and you will not enter heaven. That's called free will. We Christians are not called to punish sin. That's what's going to happen on Judgment Day. So, it's more, this is like a Westerner thing, people of the world. The Westerners love to dictate everyone what they need to do. Do you know what I mean? And as I stated before, I'm a Westerner. So when I read the Bible, I read it properly, and it says, love your enemies. It says, lead your enemies to the truth. You know, God loved the world. You know, God gave free will. There are all these guarantees that God gives people. And when you see a homosexual and you just, you know, do all these things to the homosexual in name of God, that's not what Christians are called for. Christians are called to be higher civilized than the barbarians. So any barbarian can just pick a group in society and smash that group. And then you can make black sheeps. So any barbarian can turn these people into black sheeps. But it takes civilization to treat people by high civilization standards. Yes, you're homosexual, you pay your taxes, don't commit crimes against the law of the state, but knock knock, when death comes for you, don't expect God to accept you. And if you want God to accept you, then you have to repent of your sins and then live the holy lifestyle and control your senses. Whereby you're then stopping the homosexuality to control your senses, and then God accepts you, and then you go with God in the next world. That is a choice. And you are free to make that choice. Nobody can force you to make that choice. However, what happens when you make these choices that God become angry, He can rile up enemies against you, and then these enemies can do what I'm stating. You can be delivered into the hands of your enemies when your time is up. So that's a little bit the thing with sin. You have free will, but there are consequences to it. And this is the voice of Christianity. This is how you do it. And this level of civilization is not in the Church of the West. So the Church of the West will not address you like this. And I hope you don't take that personal. And leave West, you're the West. If you're homosexual and transsexual, you're the West. And these religious people in those churches, that's the West. You people fight with each other, leave me alone with this religious fight of yours. I'm not a Westerner, leave me out of this. Okay? So that's on the future of NATO that I started prophesying about yesterday. And today I'm going to do the future of France, ladies and gentlemen. So the Marie Le Pen, the destinical mind of France, the ghost, the higher self that keeps the karma of France, came to me for the sake of Marie Le Pen. And what appears to me is that Marie Le Pen is like a figure that ambitions to become like Angela Merkel. So Angela Merkel is gone already for a while, and Angela Merkel played the mommy of Germans. So Angela Merkel was like the state's mommy, playing a mommy of everyone. And everyone liked that here in Germany. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving a commentary on that, but the people of Germany actually thought that was good. To have mommy in the politics, and mommy takes care of it all. But that's what the Germans wanted, and she did that for a long time, and nobody complained. So she is like a figure of modern times that that plays a role of taking care of the people, as if how a mother take care of the child. That type of parental authority she was playing in Germany for a long time, by the way. And so that is it is for, in a political sense, that is a success story. So Marine Le Pen has the same feelings for France. So if something bad happens to France, it will move Marine Le Pen emotionally, and she'll be like, how do I fix this? You know what I mean? If something bad happens to France, Marine Le Pen feels that it's in the personal, it's personal to her. So she might not have developed into the person that will play mommy of the state, like how Angela Merkel was doing that. But it looks like she has the emotional nature to start doing that in France. And people write a lot of things about her, about nationalism and all these kind of things. And the things they write about her don't really reflect what I am seeing when I'm looking at her, because I have declassification right and Grand Master right over the mind of the destiny of France, whereby I can just see all the French citizens for what they are, using ability, prophetic and military foresight. So I'm not saying that this is a good or a bad person. I'm not saying she has no corruptions. I'm just saying this is her emotional setup. This is what she looks like on the surface. A person who seems to be moved with the destiny of France. And she's not going like, I want to be your mommy or something like that. No, it's more of a nature. Just like how I will walk around and have a certain nature, she has a certain nature. It's like an emotional tendency, characteristics of her personality. So, this is requested for her sake, because she seems to be dismayed about the French future, and I can kind of understand why, because I started looking into the future, and I hope you're ready for this, because I saw a Russian tactical nuke destroy the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to read what I saw, I write it down, and then I'm going to give a commentary. The Notre Dame fire was a curse, and the French did not notice it like that. Nor do they see the acts of terror performed by people of Islamic culture as a sign of heavenly accursing. Even at impact of a Russian nuke, as a national symbol, the French did not identify the curse aspect of it. The Arabs, however, did notice the curse aspect of it, and they repented of their sins so severely that God accepted many of them in the Christian faith and opened their eyes to how religion is performed in a way that is acceptable to God. When the French saw this, they laughed it off and said, look at what people do when they're scared. And the French were mourning like how the world mourned when they heard about the death of Michael Jackson. So when the world figured out that this happened, the world went into a collective emotional condition. I don't know if mourning is the right word, but everyone was moved by it. So when they saw the nuke impacting, everyone was like, what did just happen? You know what I mean? Just like how when they heard Michael Jackson died, everyone was like, what? So the whole world stood still because of this event. The video footage of the impact became so viral, it entered the top 5 or top 3 of most watched videos of all time. And I give you an extra note. I don't know. I was watching it, but I don't have enough karmic velocity to see better than what I saw. I'll explain it after reading this. So I don't know for sure, because this is details. And I don't have the details. All I know is this one was high in the ranking of most watched videos of all time. So the Arabs believed the judgment of God came, and they wanted to stop God from judging France. So they became intolerant to sin and sinners, and started a subculture to punish sinners, to try to stop more sin from being committed, to avoid another heavenly strike, as that's what they called it. And I saw North Korean troops in France, ladies and gentlemen. And I also saw that the European Union would be dismantled in the future, the destiny of the future of Europe. I saw that Europe was dismantled. And I saw that France recovered from that by creating a union. So by watching the future of France, I see that the France will cope with this dismantling of Europe by creating a French union, and most probably then the Germans will do the same things and the British will do the same things. So Europe will be replaced by something, and I'm seeing that in the French destiny as a French union of nations, a league of nations, or trade nation, something like that came into existence. So this is what I saw, and normally I see more. I see better. I go scan what are the national security issues, I scan what is the political future, but sorry, I need a little break to perform this ability again in a decent way. The future of the NATO destiny, the curses of NATO fell upon me, and the curses of European Union fell upon me, and all of a sudden there's an act of terror in my life, and I'm so fed up with these Germans that emotionally I'm not capable of performing the same standard. Anyway, I will perform the value. So something is giving me 25% of the karmic velocity of France, so I will give you what you need. I will return the value, even though I am capable of more pinpoint precision than this. This cursing issue, I have a video called The Future of the Destiny of Germany. I suggest you watch that, because that one is also addressed to the French. And there you see I talk about some journey where first you pay your debts to other nations, then you have to pay your curses, then you have to pay your familiar spirits, and then you have to pay your dead bodies, and then you have to pay the rival curse, and then your destiny restarts. It's like a cycle, huge cycle, far above everyone's head. This is a huge cycle. So the day that Marine Le Pen wins the elections is the day that the debts are paid. So you have to understand the colonial history. France has debts to nations because colonial history. Whether France understands it or not is not important. This is about universal law. There is an account in the French throne, and I see the true colors of Marine Le Pen. But the world will not see this because of the karmic debts France has to other nations. So there are curses upon the destiny of France, whereby the whole world cannot see the true colors of Marine Le Pen. So all of a sudden false accusations will come, a character murder will happen, all kinds of curses that will fall upon French politics because of the colonial history, whereby God does not permit France to shine that way because it has dirt, colonial history dirt, and it is ignoring that. So do you see Germany? Germany understands the colonial history dirt. So sometimes I don't want to speak positive about Germany, trust me, but I am objective. So the Germans are sometimes make statements like, we are thankful to the Netherlands that they forgave us so fast and start trading with us again after what we did to them. And the Germans pay recompenses to the Jews. The Germans are actively doing things to pay this karmic debt they have created over the years. And you see that the Germans are almost at this point where this government is collapsing and the elections are going to come. And the moment the elections are won by the opposition, then this curse is lifted. And then Germany has no more debts to nations like Israel and other nations. Germany is at war with the colonial history karma. France, you're in the same war, only differently. Okay? So it's up to French politics to figure out how to get that purified. I suggest go to a priest, go to a church, and you don't have to listen to me. It's not about that you accept my religious authority or prophetic authority. That's not the point. The point is that you seek counseling of experts that help you see how do you purify a colonial history curse, and that you take the opinions of your own religious class. There are people in France who are trained to be priests, and you don't have to listen to one of them. Maybe you get all of them, And then you present them with the information. We have our colonial history karma. How do we fix this? And they will start praying, and some of them will come with ideas and just do what is reasonable or logical and just pay your debts. And when you've done that, the curses will be lifted and Marine Le Pen will win the elections. And when Marine Le Pen wins the elections, what happens, then all of a sudden you're going to battle French curses, you're going to battle French familiar spirits, French dead bodies, and then all of a sudden the rival curse of France. And then French destiny will restart. So you have time, because I'm using the power of France, of your ancestors. The karma of your ancestors, the good deeds created a positive karmic energy. And I'm using that right now to address you. This one will run out one day. I don't know when, but it will run out. And when it runs out, the game over. Then you are going to be judged by God. So now the French can go like, blah, 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 whatever religion, blah, 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 blah. We don't want to eat that cheese. You can do all of that, yes. You can walk out with attitude. Look at me. I'm a French person. I don't give a shit about religion, blah, 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 blah. Crazy people. You can do all of that. You know? Do all of that. You can do that until your generational energy runs out, and all of a sudden, boom, your Eiffel Tower is nuked. The curses are becoming bigger and bigger. First your Notre Dame on fire, then all of a sudden these really crazy terror attacks, and all of a sudden a really big, giant fucking terror attack. Because you have to understand something. When I saw the nuke impact, that was not a normal nuke. So I've been informing people about the special, some kind of a new stealth type of nuke that Russia developed, and that they will make a ceremonial strike upon the West to demonstrate that. I don't know how many of them they're going to do, but I saw one, and that one was on the Eiffel Tower. And yes, there has been some type of nuclear development in Russia, yes. And it's hard to describe that because I'm not a physicist and I do not understand much about chemicals. I'm not into that. But I am reasonable intelligence to describe things. The impact created some kind of a reaction that created some kind of a show. So when you drop a nuclear bomb and all of a sudden a mushroom cloud, there is a sort of side effect of impact. This new tactical nuke type of technology of Russia does not create a mushroom cloud. It creates some kind of a really intense. It doesn't look chemical. It looks more electric. Some kind of an electric, and it exploded. And it was really fast. It's like the technology of the Russians to deliver the nuke to the target. They showed that they can literally pinpoint at such a speed. The speed of this thing, it was serious. It was the technological advancements the Russians have made. This world, when you see that, when the West wakes up and sees the technological advancement of the Russian nuclear arsenal, it is going to strike fear in people. It will, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a curse upon France. So the throne of France has curses. And the curses are going to be administrated. So your enemies are going to do things to you, and then your enemies will have victories over you, and these victories are the impacts of the curses. So at one point these curses are lifted, and then these enemies will no longer get the authority to do such terrible things to France. So it is like God lets the enemies of France do these weird things to France, terrible things, to give you all a signal that something is wrong. And at one point the signals become bigger, and the final signal will be this nuclear impact. That's the final signal France will get. And when that signal does not arrive, then you are blind. That is a little bit the preaching. I didn't intend to do that, but I am under spiritual influence. So when then the impact comes and France repents and all these things start happening, the French people will start purifying their curses, and then the familiar spirits will go, and then all of a sudden the dead bodies are overcome. I explained it in other videos how to do that. I advise you listen to that. And then all of a sudden these North Korean troops will show up, because that's a rival curse. That's a final curse. So the whole West is being threatened by some timeline that Russia is initiating, threatening everyone. At one point, the Russians are there. So when that point comes for the West, the part of Russia that will enter France are North Korean soldiers. I saw them. And it's terrible. France is terrible. Let me tell you something. These people were hiding in the woods. I mean, I've been in France, so I know about these mountains and stuff. They're going to hide. It was bad. Okay, so it is a difficult war landscape. France is it looked very difficult trying to get these North Koreans out of these woods. I tell you the truth. That was something. So, if you purify the curses, if you purify the familiar spirits, if you purify the dead bodies, if you purify the rival curse, if you want to do that, I have these videos on this YouTube channel on how to get that done. It will take you some time and effort to understand everything. But if you do that really fast, all these things can be avoided. But I know that's not going to happen. But the theoretical possibility that actually this will happen is there. But I don't expect it. So these things can be avoided, but I don't expect it. So I'm going to address you as if you're not going to take these instructions and this will all come to pass. So Marine Le Pen will be under control of this higher self, and she will do the quest with everyone who's in France to try to overcome all these troubles, and the small reformations slowly will happen. The enlightenment of France will happen slowly because of the troubles that fall upon France. More troubles, the French people will figure out something is wrong. The arrogance will go, boom, no more arrogance in France, boom, no more hatred for religion in France. You know, all these events are going to happen. So people have a stigmatizing thing against religion, and then when the war shows up, they're going to be introduced to acts of love of religion. So all of a sudden the hard French anti-religious people are going to end up in a whole bunch of trouble, and there's that Christian, you know, going like, yeah, no, God love you, here, take this. And all of a sudden many hearts of the French will be changed that way. This is a natural course of things. You know, and it will reform, and all of a sudden at the very end of the battle, the French will see the Germans, the French will see the Americans, and be like, okay, this is just a new way of things. Atheism is history. Okay, and all of a sudden France will also eventually overcome everything, yes. And then, instead of running on generational energy, like the energy I'm using now to address you, the power of France, the first generational account of France will start. The destiny of France will restart without curses, but it will be like World War II. After World War II, there was so much devastation and destruction, and then, what are we going to do now? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have to rebuild, and that's what will happen once all the karma of France is purified.